Okay, might as well get started. This is Dave Dubois, and welcome to the March New Mexico Drought Monitoring Workgroup call. And I will start with requesting if we go around and state your name and your organization.
This is Raymond with the Bureau of Reclamation.
This is Susan Rich with State Forestry.
This is Les Owen with New Mexico Department of Ag.
Dave Simmerall, Western Regional Climate Center.
Richard Heim, NOAA National Climatic Data Center. I guess we have 2 drought monitor authors online so far.
Awesome.
Curtis McFadden, Army Corps of Engineers. This is Greg Story from the National Weather Service West Gulf RFC.
And it's Chuck Jones here at the National Weather Service office. I'm joined by Molly and Julie from the State Engineer's office in Santa Fe.
Okay, well, great. Welcome. And so we have the, if anybody has any problems with the PowerPoint, everybody see it? All right. So are you doing it this month, Chuck, or is Brian there?
Yeah. Brian took an overtime shift last night, so he worked at midnight. He had forgotten the day was the meeting, so he passed it on to me.
Okay. Well, I guess you're on, Chuck.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Sorry to just send such... hello. Here we go. Okay, so what's going on so far in March? How can I get... There we go. Can I get this thing out of here? The new GoToWebinar version. So far through most of this month, doing so. It's mixed. Obviously, southern areas, far south, central, and southeast doing very well. South, and up through east slopes, central mountains doing okay, but the northwest and northeast obviously doing the worst in terms of percent normal, and kind of mixed in other areas. My guess would be we'd end up near to, actually maybe I think a little bit below normal. It doesn't quite look that way, but somewhere not too far from normal for the month. And something's not working. Here we go. Okay, so you guys wanted a regional outlook, so here it is for snowpack back on March 1st. Not too bad, at least especially in the Sangre de Cristos over New Mexico, and eastern portions of Colorado. But boy, throughout this month, as of yesterday morning, we've deteriorated quite a bit, and things are not looking quite so good, not only to our north and northwest, but over New Mexico as well. So it seems like a broken record, but looks like we're going downhill pretty fast like we have the last 4 years. And then just to verify that, snow depth, just the northern mountains reporting the snow up there, and very little anywhere else. Maybe a little bit down here, Rio Hondo watershed. But pretty paltry for this time of the year. But let's go to happier times. Back in February, we were very close to normal, 100%, 106% of normal, actually. Not too bad across northern areas, and unlike January, the northern mountains did quite well in February. I think there were 4 pretty good storms up there, and so things worked out pretty well in the northern mountains and up into Colorado. But of course, obviously, since then, not too good. There you can see, putting it in perspective, of the last 100 plus years, just above average at 106%. And that turns out to be the 46th wettest on record, pretty close to the middle of the bunch. If we break it down further by climate division, you can see climate divisions 1, 2, and 3 did pretty darn well, with 150 plus to over 220% of normal. So again, that was very good for the northern third or half of the state. Not terrible elsewhere, obviously. Some pretty good as well, with just this month the CD8 or the Southeast Plains actually doing the worst at around 82-83%, and also Climate Division 4 out here in the West Central Mountains about 87%. For the calendar year, just going back to 2 months now, January through February, with a January great 200+% month, we're still through the first 2 months of the calendar year at 168% of normal, doing very well in the east, and also portions of central toward south central and southwest New Mexico. And looking at that rank then, the 11th wettest on record for the first 2 months of any year. Very good. Again, 168% of normal. But the water year, if we go back to October of 2014 and go through February of this year, it drops down to 111% of normal. Which we'll pretty much take after the last 4 years. I know we're not this well, so it's a little bit above normal for the water year, which is now nearing the halfway point, actually. And there you have it, 41st wettest on record, above normal. We go back an entire 12 months from March of 2014 through February of this year. 35th wettest, 109% of normal, not too bad. Close to 1.25 inches precipitation amounts above normal, statewide average. 24-month period, consecutive months, not as good, but still right there at 101% of normal. 46th wettest on record. Forgot my little circle. 36 month, it continues to decline, 21st driest, 5 inches below normal, and that works out to 88%. That's normal for statewide average. And then even further decline when we go out 4 to 5 years. Top 10 material here, ninth driest, both for the 4 and 5 year period. So once again, we see good improvement in the first, over the past year, 1 to 2 years. But we start talking 3, especially 4 and 5 years. Still a very significant long-term drought, and it's still going to take quite a while to up those numbers, fill up the reservoirs, and to get some water in the ground. Okay, a couple of NASA sports slides here. This is the land information system. This is showing a column integrated relative soil moisture. The takeaway here is the positive numbers are good, negative numbers are bad. So back in February, for the previous month, things were looking positive, and then we see the same thing here recently from late February through late March. with some positive values. So we're getting a little bit of soil moisture in the ground there. This is actually from 0 to 200 centimeters, or about 2 meters down. So not too bad. And then the other product that we look at is the GRACE, or the Gravity Recovery and Climate Experiment graphic here. I won't go into too much detail other than to say that these values are in percentiles. So the higher the percentile, the better. And so, much of the state is showing, 60, 70, even or higher in the higher percentile rank here, which it obviously is good. But this is, keep in mind, we're only looking at the top 2 centimeters. So this is just about an inch down. Regional drought status as of last Tuesday. Obviously, California is still having major problems, and also to our east in the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, and then western Oklahoma and parts of north central into central Texas, still looking at extreme to exceptional drought. Here in New Mexico, though, we are extreme and exceptional drought free. And we're looking at still 62% of the state, though, in moderate to severe drought. 18% of that is severe. But compared to recently, obviously, it's better. There was some improvement over the northwest and the northeast over the last 3 months. It's been the biggest change. Just a little bit of deterioration in through here and up into Torrance County. We've gone back into either abnormally dry or a little bit of D1. Thing to point out is March 3rd this year, we dropped out of the extreme drought, and the last time we saw that was on March 1st, 2011. So we went four solid years with some extreme drought or worse across parts of New Mexico. Pretty impressive, but it's good not to see those darker colors. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we might expect through the spring and summer. Here's our 3-month loop of the sea surface temperatures, both temperatures up here and anomalies down here. And one thing you can kind of pick up on is looks like temperatures are warming overall out here in the western into central Pacific, and hanging in there in other areas. If we look at a 4-week change out here, pretty nice warm up over the west central portions of the Pacific, equatorial Pacific, and this bodes well. This is what we want to see showing up this time of the year. So again, here's sea surface temperature anomalies, focusing on the 3.4 region. The Nino 3.4 here. It's been consistently now at around 0.5 or higher. Latest weekly value, 0.6 degrees Celsius. And because of that, we're actually in an El Nino advisory now, upgraded from the El Nino watch. Forecasters are saying 50 to 60% chance of the El Nino conditions continuing through at least the summer. The models showing a little bit higher than that overall, and right around 70% for about a 4-month period here, 3-month period. Just another way of looking at it, here's all the model outputs, with the dynamical models being much more aggressive on a weak to even moderate El Nino developing. Not quite so much the case for the statistical models. But overall, we're looking at weak El Nino conditions probably continuing through the summer, if not into the fall. And here's a breakdown. The percentages for the models are suggesting for various periods through the spring and summer months. Things still look good for precipitation. The April outlook is now out, and odds are favoring above normal precipitation statewide. but even a better signal over the western half to third of the state. So certainly looks pretty good for April, while temperatures are near to perhaps trending toward below normal over roughly the southeast half of New Mexico. 3 months, April, May, and June, still looks very favorable for above normal precipitation being the most likely outcome, and that's pretty strong signal statewide. Well, again, temperatures looking perhaps below normal across the southeast, roughly half of the state. And in the seasonal outlook, western areas, they're suggesting drought continuing or perhaps even worsening, but north central, northeast areas and the south central area here, the suggestion, the trend toward drought improving or even disappearing through June. So it's hope we can actually get that everywhere across the state. So that's about it. Wanted to see who has any suggested changes for this week's drought monitor across New Mexico. Here's a regional look. And I'll start by saying that I haven't had a lot of time to look at things in detail. We made some changes here recently across the northwest and the northeast, and I don't see anything glaring at this point that I'd want to change right away, unless somebody else has something. So I'll open the floor to others.
Well, I found it interesting. This is Dave. With you showed that GRACE soil moisture, and then looking at comparing that with the PRISM month to date. So it seems like there hasn't been any, at least in the Four Corners area. It seems like the soil has been fairly moist, even though there hasn't been any much rain at all in March. So, I've been trying to keep track of the Four Corners, and because there's not a lot of data in that area. But I think that still warrants keeping that area under the current under D2. So what are your thoughts on that, any of that area by Colfax? What were that's Ratoon area?
Yeah, up here.
What were what is it doing short term? From trying to remember
it's actually pretty dry up there in March. Cover your eyes. So there's a GRACE, yeah.
Far east, it looks like it's
interesting.
Yeah, the far corner the far northeast, it seems to be pretty dry all through the month, which matches up with Texas and Oklahoma. That's probably our driest area right now.
Yeah, obviously from about Raton eastward down toward between Quay and Curry counties here.
Yeah, this is Dave Simmerall. Some of that stuff, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly on the NASA GRACE. I like to see some more ground truthing related to that. I'm not always convinced that that's always accurate. If you take a look at the USGS Groundwater Watch, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that site. I mean, it does show there are a number of places where groundwater's looking pretty good, but then there's some areas in which there's definitely a discrepancy between the GRACE data and what's being measured in the wells, especially around Santa Fe area, and some of the wells around Albuquerque as well they're basically in kind of D3 level, D2, D3. Are you guys familiar with that website? If you searched USGS Groundwater Watch, it'll pull up a map with all the wells.
Yeah, but no, below that, there was a.
Yeah, just the one below here. Here we go. Nope.
Farther down.
There you go.
Supposed to be below normal groundwater level.
Active groundwater level network.
Trying.
Well, I don't see a huge need to change a lot this month. Brian did submit some changes over on the east side, east central last week, or 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is Dave again. Sorry I got cut off there. I went to hit mute and I hung
no
up
problem.
myself here. The only thing I didn't, like that was changed a week or so ago is that, I know the snowpack's been pretty good up in Taos area, but I still, with the reservoir situation, I would have preferred to have kept the D1 up in that north central part, and especially you can see the snowpack numbers have dropped down quite a bit. I just thought it might be good to keep that D1 hanging around, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, this is Richard. I was also interested in seeing what the current reservoir situation is like.
Yeah, we'll get to that here shortly.
Yeah, I noticed on the agenda. I think it's next.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be another nasty year with deliveries. I think with the Rio Grande, because if I look at with the SWE, using the Colorado Basin tool, it's like the second year of melting out more than a month early, from my point of view.
Well, I think it's important too. Yeah, that's good, Dave. I agree, and I think it's important to note too that it's been warmer than normal all winter. That's obviously with the melting out, but this is pretty much the entire West has been warm all winter.
Yeah, I was just looking at the PRISM deviation, the mean temperature deviation, and particularly the highest anomalies are on the upper elevations. Just looking eyeballing map, 3 to 5, and potentially a little more than 5 degree in March. Yeah, if you click on the mean temperature and then the deviation and zoom into Mexico. It looks like they even updated to the 29th. Yeah, refresh. Yeah. So that even makes it more worrisome up north.
Just talking about the really warm temperatures. Talking about the really warm temperatures.
Uh-huh.
This is Richard again. Last month I did a special analysis of temperatures across the west, from the Rockies to the west coast. And if you look at the entire region integrated together spatially, the temperature anomaly for February and for the year-to-date, and for the winter, and for the last 12 months. Those are the 4 time periods I looked at. You're looking at record warm for each of those time periods, region-wide. So we've got an amazing temperature anomaly going on, and of course in the west it's warm and dry all the time. ET is high, but with these record warm temperatures, it's probably going to increase the evapotranspiration.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we've got that new on the national map. We've got the ET in the NDFD grids now. We could actually look at some of those. And I think even for today, departure for normal over 500s on this one day. So bottom line, I don't know if we have any strong indications for changes for this month. Any
sounds
comments?
like we should be kind of reluctant to improve things anymore.
No, I don't
in
think
the
we
near
should
future.
improve, but I'm just
Yeah,
keeping and making sure that we don't go too far in improvements with the keeping in mind the long-term perspective is going to still weigh in pretty heavily, especially with these warm temperatures. So I guess we could say the status quo for this call. Everybody agree on that?
Yeah, it's okay for now.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, this is Victor. Yeah,
Hey, Victor.
I think so.
Okay.
How's it going?
Well.
Yeah, I think status quo would be good.
All right.
Sort of, short-termish improvement, but long-term still sort of scary. So I think balance it out, just sort of stay status quo. By the way, I just did some quick stats, Dave. Using the SCIP drought analysis tool, and I'll share this with the group. But anyway, I come up with about an estimated month-to-date precip for March of about 0.8 inches or so, maybe 0.9, which is just slightly above normal statewide. And for the first 3 months, JFM come up with about 2.75 to 2.8 inches, and average is 2. So it looks like for the first 3 months of the year, we're running about 125, maybe 130% of normal. And it's the wettest start of the year, since JFM of 2010, which, as we all know, was the last El Nino.
Yeah, good point there. It's always a balance between the, looking really good for the short term in the early spring, but then seeing what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm hoping
I
that
was sort of unaware. Hey, Dave, I was sort of unaware that it proved to be 0 last week. So seeing that be what is what it is. I wouldn't. Yeah, I think status quo is perfect.
Sounds good. All right, so let's look at the reservoirs. So Raymond, you still on?
Still here.
Awesome. You have the floor.
Okay. Will we lose the group?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start in Rio Grande. Petoro is 11,733. Heron, 67,952. Alvaro, 33,294. Abiquiu, 133,489. Cochiti, 48,839. Let's see. Oliphant Butte, 364,804. And Caballo, 36,198. On the Pecos, Santa Rosa, 70,843. Sumner, 46,279. Brandley, 85,196. So back on the Rio Grande, there were some hopes in the forecast that we would probably come out of Article 7, meaning that Elkin View and Caballo would get above 400,000 acre feet, and that would be good news for us if we can. But like I said, a lot of it's starting to come off early. The numbers, the snowtail numbers are starting to come down a bit. We did see some water. We're seeing some water on the main stem, and of course it's helping us already, but hopefully it's to go on, further into the spring. So far, so good on this. On the Pecos, we're doing really well. We're starting to see the water starting to come off above Wesner, and the inflow is starting to come up above Santa Rosa. So hopefully that'll put in a good amount of water. Of course, a lot of folks know that the last few years we hardly got anything into Santa Rosa whatsoever from the spring runoff. So already the numbers we're seeing right now have been higher than what we've seen in the last few years. Of course, in Bratney, there's over 40,000 acre feet of excess storage we got to get rid of, and that was from all last fall's rainfall. So it's looking like that will be coming off, being sent down to Texas in either late June or early July. So there'll be a lot of water coming into there for that. So on the Rio Grande and the Pecos, all districts are watering and starting irrigation. So far so good. So hopefully we'll have some relief if this monsoon holds up and comes true, and that'll be nice for a change after the last few years of just making it by the skin of our teeth. That's all I have, unless anyone has questions. Okay, thank you.
Hey, thanks, Raymond. All right, so has anybody heard from Chris Haynes?
No.
No, okay. Do you guys work with him when you're doing any of the stream flow forecasts?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So he knows about our calls, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking, making sure. I checked to make sure he was on the email list, and he was, but I just want to make sure. Okay. But I think we have gone over the SWE map, so we have a good sense of, well, at least seeing all the massive below average regionally. So any more comments on that? I think we looked at it enough. Depressing enough. I didn't hear if Anne Marie was on the call either. Didn't hear her on here. Okay. All right. So we come down to the Office of the State Engineer. I think, Julie, are you doing it this month?
Yeah, I'm here.
Great.
Arrow or space key or left click, and then some of them weren't working.
Okay, so this is our required Office of State Engineers. Maybe I'll just do arrows.
There you go.
Okay, so we obtain our data from the USAC for the current storage, and for the previous month are from February 20th, 2015. So we're going to illustrate last year's with the brown background, the current will be the blue, and the previous month is the dotted line that's green, and then the average is the red line. For Navajo, it was pretty much, actually we saw a difference from last month. So that one increased about 43 acre feet, and it's still well below average. Not a whole lot of change from last month, and as well, still below average. Santa Rosa, most of these haven't changed. There's only 3 reservoirs that we saw a slight increase from last month. But this one is doing a little bit better than the average. Sumner, not a whole lot of change again. And Brantley, it's well, but let's see, looking at my numbers here. Brantley is higher than average, but just like Raymond mentioned, they're going to be moving some of that water out in June. And Heron is really below average. Same pretty much as last month. Bottle had a slight increase, but not much. It only increased by almost 17 acre-feet. Abbey Q, pretty much the same as last month. And Elephant View had a small increase, about 43 acre-feet, but it's still well below the average. Same with Caballo. And then this is just kind of our summary, which our numbers pretty much well matched up with Raymond's. That's all we have. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, thanks, Julie.
You're welcome.
Any indication of a task force coming up at all? I think the last one we had was in September, right?
Yeah.
No, I mean I think one of our meetings last fall, we had I had emailed the previous state engineer, but since we've had the change to the current state engineer, and then we had the legislative session, I haven't heard anything about it, but I will certainly send an email to his assistant, and we'll see what he wants to do.
Okay. Yeah, just seeing where we are. It'd be good to, if he's available, and we can get the group back together and give an update. It's been a while.
Okay. Right.
And now we have a good sense of what's going on with snowpack, and then where we stand for some of the irrigation, at least a cursory understanding without a lot of heavy numbers. But yeah, so good. Once you can find out that and report back whenever you get something, I appreciate it.
Okay, I will work on that.
Great. All right, so Les, are you still on?
Yes, sir. I'm still here.
All right. So, if you have a report or at least some numbers, updates on anything in NMDA or agriculture impacts?
There's really not nothing concrete to report. The crop progress reports that USDA puts out will gear up in April, and I'll start sending those out to the group as we meet. So far, there's been a couple of smaller grass fires crop up around the state. Nothing major or severe, but of course, it's all this time of year. It's a worry for folks. Just kind of related to the drought monitor discussion. There's a piece of legislation that made it through both the House and the Senate, and now will, of course, will be signed or will not be signed, whatever the governor decides to do with it. That it's related to the special valuation of property taxes for agricultural lands, and there was an issue that came up whether folks were claiming that they were resting the land due to drought and long-term drought, and they were at risk of losing their special valuation method which would cause their property taxes to go up by 200%, say. And this bill specifically mentions the drought monitor that moderate drought conditions exist in the county. So there may be some, if this bill does get signed by the governor, there may be some increased interest from the counties to provide input. At least I'm hoping it may lead to that. It may take some outreach on some of our part to elicit that input, but being that is something that the county assessors will have to utilize in determining whether or not lands qualify for this special valuation method, it could sure generate some more interest from folks to provide input to the drought monitor. So just kind of an FYI there, but and beyond that, I don't have much. If anybody has any questions, though, I'll try to answer them.
Do you have any idea what that bill number was?
It Senate Bill 112.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, thanks, Les, for that that update. I think we should be at least I'm going to follow what goes on with 112, and these opportunities will provide to our advantage to get more resource, at least information, out to us.
I think so. Once we see what happens, if it gets signed into law, I think maybe we could get together and discuss how we might, like you said, use it to kind of foster and develop some more input to the drought monitor.
Yeah,
I think it could be a positive thing.
Right. Okay, that would be great, and also that would piggyback on some of the work that I want to get started with extension with the Climate Hub, and we could.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Good. So now I met with some folks over in Curry and Roosevelt, with getting them started with Kokoraz. Just getting some of the city employees outfitted with the gauge, getting more data points in that area. And it'd be nice if we could expand that. That it's always helpful to have more. So good. Thanks for that info. Any other questions for Les? Oh, very good. Thanks again. And I haven't heard from either Joylyn or Emelita, so I think the last time I talked to them, or I just communicated, they had some information on the county designations, but I'll follow up again on that so that and I could forward that on to folks. All right, so we just want to reserve a little space if there's any other comments that you kind of thought of after listening to the reservoirs and any other reports.
This is Susan.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, you had asked last month for some fire forecast information.
Yes. Do you have some?
I have a little bit. I got in late and didn't get too much research this morning, but I have the basics for you.
Okay.
The factors that we look at are the drought, fine fuels, and the seasonal temp and precip, the summer expected weather pattern, and the monsoon predictions. And all those factors point to a delayed fire season onset and overall normal fire potential for New Mexico. There's a good possibility of below normal fire potential for most of the eastern two-thirds of New Mexico, at least into May, and then increasing to normal. So that's, right now, the big thing is people are doing burning, so just being careful during the windy times is the big deal. If folks want to go look up and get the details and the maps and the video or PowerPoints to look and get more details, you can go to the Southwest Coordination Center website, and on the left there's a menu for predictive services, and you can look there for for the outlook or for the fuels or fire danger information.
Well, that's certainly good news. Seeing we're on top of everything else. We don't want to see an early fire season or above average. So I'm glad it's that they're forecasting delayed fire season onset. That's good.
Right. There's the forecast, the fire danger class for part of New Mexico. Well, like the north central and southeast corners and the far north are moderate, but the rest of New Mexico is generally in the high range, but that is still normal for now.
Anything about the far west, Katrin, western Cibola? Is that also included in that?
That's in the normal.
The normal, okay.
Okay, so it's higher than the rest.
Yeah, that was the area where I was more concerned about, seeing we had some very, very dry periods, and the snowpack is pretty much gone. Well, it's been gone for a while.
Yeah. So you can they put it up every day in the Outlook section.
Okay, I'll make sure and put that on my personal briefing.
I can send you the links by email later if you want. That'll make it easier
for
folks to look up.
That would be great. Yeah, I would appreciate that.
All right.
Awesome. Okay. Any other updates on anything related to drought or conditions forecasts?
Is anyone going to cover the snowpack?
Well, do you want? Well, we had the SWE maps up there.
Okay.
And I think I did a quick. I went to the Colorado Basin. Let me see if I can find that. I did a multi snowtail average, and they according to the multi snowtail average, about 65% of median for the Rio Grande Basin, and we're just slightly below last year, just slightly below. Melt rate of 0.4 inches per day. So it's quickly melting. You can always forward this little graph, the SWE graph. It's pretty dramatic, and that's reflective of these warm temperatures that we're getting up in the high elevations. And I think the Gila is all melted out, and not in what looks like it's 17% of median of over in the Sacramento Mountains. Any other observations?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and I think that I haven't checked the March streamflow forecast came out. I don't have those numbers, but they were pretty consistent with the previous month. I think like 50%, somewhere around there. But usually those are still. It's early. Wait for the beginning of April to see what the updates of that are. We can circulate that around. Anything else?
Okay. No, as long as it's also the main the slides can go out right away. I can send that out to the group.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and we can always get the NRCS. There's the weekly. I think I saw that out. The weekly snow water basin reports. At least I get those.
Right. But I meant the Weather Bureau.
The
presentation
for this call. Yeah, I'm sure Chuck Chuck will probably email that out as soon as we're done.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Very
so
well.
go ahead. Was there somebody else had a comment? Okay. So let's put our calendars out and look for a good time to reconnect in April. So CPC updates on April 16th. That's the third Thursday. And so what day of the week do you guys prefer? Either Monday or Tuesday?
Monday's fine with me.
So either the 20th or the 20th. Tuesday?
Tuesday's better.
Tuesday, the 21st?
Tuesday.
Is that a good day, or should we move it to the 28th?
That's good for the weather service.
21st?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. We have the Rio Grande runoff meeting on the Wednesday, the 22nd.
So would you prefer the next week?
No.
That'll work for you guys, 21st?
Yep.
Okay. So sounds good. So we will reconvene our call on April 21st, 10 a.m. Mountain Time. So thanks everyone. We'll adjourn our call for this month, and I'll post Chuck will post the slides, and we'll post the recording up on our usual places. So thanks everyone. I appreciate all your inputs.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys
Thank you.
next time.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you.